Hey everyone, George here, the Disney family man, back for another deep, intense conversation because we have a lot to talk about today. I have two of my good friends with me. I have Orange Grove 55, and also coming back to the channel is our very own Mr. Theme Park Wizard. And again, folks, it's not Harry Potter. I have Ethan with us today as well. Hi
Well,
guys, how
thank you
you
for
doing?
having me, George.
And thank you for having me.
Glad to have you
I'm
guys on.
currently in California Adventure and Pixar Pier. I rented it out to myself, so that's what
Hey, you might well. It's not being used at the moment, so might as well
I'm
take
having
it.
my own food and wine festival. So haha to you guys.
Yeah. So today, I thought with this in-depth conversation, I think the three of us should really be on about this, and especially you guys, because you're both California locals. So you guys are impacted by this even more than the thousands upon thousands of diehard Disney fans out there. That recently Disney had to make the unbearable decision, a heartbreaking decision of laying off 28,000 cast members all around at Walt Disney World, at Disneyland. And this goes by Josh D'Amaro's statement that he said, based off of the COVID shutdown, which we all knew that was going to happen. There was going to be layoffs, and it was probably going to impact, the Disney community. But I think no one anticipated this high of a number. And also, Josh mentioned that, and he blatantly said it right out there in the statement, that it was due to, I'm going to use my own words. I'm not actually quoting his words because I don't have it up in front of me, but more so the unwillingness that California has put the company in, that they had to do this many layoffs. And for me, everyone seemed to come down on Disney for it. And I'm looking at it as, what choice did they really have? That they were even nice enough to furlough cast members for this long, you know, pay them for being off of work, their health insurance and all that and what have you. As a company, you could only, for even how big and how much money the Walt Disney Company has, you could only do that for so long. They are literally paying their cast members to sit at home and not do their job, which it's not the cast members' fault. It's not Disney's fault, but something had to give because Disney still has to retain their finances due to their shutdown. And so I ask you guys, where are you at with this? Because Christopher, I know you did a video on it, and I mean, you like blatantly, you like stated, you put it out there that you are not happy.
Yeah, well, the thing is like, yeah, exactly. Like people like I've been saying, like, well, the layoffs were inevitable. Well, yeah, the layoffs were inevitable. Like layoffs were always going to happen, but they didn't have to be 28,000 people. Like it could have been a lot less if California were to allow Disneyland to reopen, back in July or even last month in August. Or not, actually, we're in October, last month in September even. So, it didn't have to, the cuts didn't have to be this deep. And, I'm not going to go as far as to say that, this is all Newsom's fault, because it's not all of Newsom's fault. This is division wide. There's Florida that's involved as well, the cruise lines, what have you. But he does burden a lot of the blame here. The reason why the California parks aren't open is largely because of Governor Newsom. So yeah, it's frustrating. It really is frustrating, and it's sad that a lot of these cast members, are being laid off, and maybe even unnecessarily because of the stalemate, between the state and the theme park industry. It's really upsetting.
Now, I do know that they had mentioned Walt Disney World. It's roughly about 6,700 layoffs. To me, because that was Walt Disney World, that seemed the appropriate number for them because of the shutdown period. We knew it was going to happen. People weren't going to be happy with it either way, but it was going to be some sort of repercussion due to the shutdown. 6,700 is a lot of cast members. And
Oh yeah,
I think we all agree that we wouldn't want not just one cast member to be laid off because of it. But due to the fact, I think Disney will work with them. They stated that they will work with their cast members, upon their return, hopefully sooner than later in the future. But um, but 6,700 out of the 28,000 is at Walt Disney World. So majority of that is coming from California. So
Right.
that's basically saying right there, the main chunk of the layoffs is because of Disneyland, because the resort's not functional right now. It's not in operation. So, Ethan, what are your takes on it? Because I know that you posted some things, but like verbally, like what's your take on it?
Well, here I have an example here to show you guys. So it still doesn't make sense to me. So here's our chart here, or California's four-tier system for people who don't know on the East Coast. So this is the four things, right? As part of the guidance, uh, I think they wanted to go into this minimal section, which is virtually in Orange County. Have to have less than 30 cases per day to get to this minimal thing, which is
Oh my
almost
God.
impossible. Uh, LA County is right over here, and Orange County is right here. Now it's weird, and that's why I don't get it. In this tier, movie theaters can reopen, and they are open in Orange County. So if I can sit in a box, why can't I go to a theme park? It makes no sense, and at least allow them to open right here in the red tier. But I honestly, my thing is, they should theme parks should have no tier, but only the things in them should have a tier. So they should be the rides and stuff should be able to reopen with the same stuff they have in Florida and 47. That's right, 47 other states, including New Jersey, just opened their indoor theme park. Yes,
Wow.
last week. Um, but the restaurants and the stores inside these parks, they should follow these things. So they have like different capacity limits here. Then that I'd be okay if
That
like
actually
a
makes sense. That
a
does actually make
restaurant.
sense because a theme park is outdoors. So
Yeah,
if anyone wants to go and walk somewhere, you're walking the same way as you would a theme park to get to
yeah.
a restaurant or a store. Yeah, so that would
And
make
that
sense.
way,
That's what really should be implemented with.
and that also that means let's say because the counties can go back, they can get to substantial, but then if they have more than seven, they have to go back to purple. That way, the theme park won't have to close, but just, you know, it goes from indoor dining at the parks restaurants to just outdoor dining. But the theme park can stay open. I think that's what I've always thought that's what should be happening. It's a nice compromise, and I'm sure Disney and Universal will be a-okay with that because they're doing that at the city walking downtown Disney anyway. Oh, good, Chris. I thought you were frozen for a second because you're like a little bit.
You know what, Ethan? That's actually what you just said
He's posing for the thumbnail.
what you just said is actually pretty brilliant, Ethan. Yeah, you're right. Like theme parks are not like a static situation in that like a movie theater, right? In order to go to the theater, you go inside, you sit down. It's a very focused scenario. Theme parks aren't like that. There's a lot of walking outside, but there's a lot of indoor stuff too. It's a variety of experiences indoor and out. So Ethan, it's a great point where there should be like certain activities within the theme park should be held to different standards. Like the theme park should be open because it's outdoors, but like the indoor stuff maybe could receive a little more scrutiny. Maybe like you said, like the indoor dining can be put on hold for a while and have only outdoor dining. That's actually really, really good. That is a great compromise.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's like the perfect thing. I don't understand why they don't say that. But the whole distance thing, the 120 miles, that doesn't matter.
Okay, well now that's just what you just mentioned right now, that Newsom was going to release the guidelines to open up the theme parks, but after that it kind of got leaked of what it would be, Disney just said hold it off. And I could even understand that. That to me
Oh,
is
it was, yeah, Disney, Universal, and Knott's. Six Flags has been kind of quiet the whole thing, but they all like banded together and said,
well, that's good.
no.
Good for all them, because you know what? That to me, to reopen with those kind of guidelines, that to me just sounds being desperate.
Like I said in my tweet, I said if you're gonna mention the yellow tier, you might as well just not release the guidelines at all.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to get to yellow tier. And here's the thing, you guys, and I've said this over and over and over and over again. Even with a vaccine, we're still going to have cases. We're still going to have deaths, unfortunately. We don't have a cure for the flu. We don't have a cure for the common cold. Who's to say we're ever going to get a cure for COVID? So do we just keep it shut down forever then? Like, we have to work with what we got here. You know what I'm saying? Eventually.
And keep in mind, even yellow tier is not fully thinking. That's only 50% capacity.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I say? Let's not do the red tier. Let's not do the yellow tier. Let's not do the green tier. Let's do what's behind Ethan right now. Let's Pixar tier.
There we go. There we go.
I need my drums to go boom, boom, boom.
Wow, that's
But,
wild.
Yeah, the whole thing. I don't understand, and you guys can let me know what you think. But the whole 120-mile radius thing, I don't know how that makes sense if you have to make a reservation anyway. Why would someone? I mean, I feel like I wouldn't want to fly state to state if I feel like I can't get a reservation. There'd be no incentive for me to come here. So I don't understand why there's like a distance limit there for these places. At least for I know
Well, that's
university.
even like at Walt Disney World. Even though, despite their having their layoffs for their cast members, more restaurants are opening up at the resort. They actually just started testing the fountain by the new Remy's Ratatouille Adventure in the France Pavilion at Epcot. So they're testing the fountain. So they're getting the things kind of switched on, so to speak. So I'm hoping that, especially with Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, that it will open soon, just like how Tokyo did with Beauty and the Beast. But you're starting to see things even in the international parks. Tokyo literally just opened up an e-ticket, not even just attraction. They opened up an e-ticket section, a whole entire Beauty and the Beast section. It was supposed to open in April, but now it opened, what, 5 years? 5 years, excuse me, not 5 years. I would hate for it to be 5 years. 5 months later, but they still did it. In
Right.
time, they still did it. Walt Disney World is moving in that path. Even the cruise line is starting to look at opening cruises soon. It just seems like Disneyland, the original park that started it all with the entertainment industry, isn't moving at all. It's sad.
Yeah, it's politics. It's
And
politics.
Alani opens in November.
Yeah, exactly. Ethan just said Alani opens in November. Yeah, Alani open. Every park, every resort is going to be open, and Disneyland's still going to be sitting here waiting for Newsom to release his guidelines. You know, I mean, it's crazy. I just don't understand.
You know what?
it.
Honestly, they probably can open it up right now for Halloween because they wouldn't even have to dust off the cobwebs.
Exactly, and then everyone can wear a mask, and they wear a mask anyway for Halloween.
I think more and more people seem to be getting upset, or at least seem to be agreeing. So like my family members, some of which I won't say won't go outside, they will go outside, but at the few months ago thought, oh man, that's they wouldn't travel, they wouldn't go. Even now, like my cousin, she's like, I was like, they're gonna release theme park guidelines soon. And she goes, oh wow, that's awesome. Whereas like 2 months ago, she'd be like, oh, I don't know about that. But she's like, coming to, because it's all about adapting to the situation.
Right.
But so more public support, which is great. But hopefully, I don't understand. It's very simple. Like I said, like you said in one of your videos, Chris, not the first time it's been done. 47 states, including New Jersey. And I say New Jersey because it's in New Jersey, but it's really New York's theme park, because it's kind of, New York can't fit theme park. So there's right. It's like, I think it's in Newark, like, right across the river, the Great American Mall. And it's completely indoors. And that's servicing like 20 million people, an area of 20 million people. And it's indoors. So if that can be open in the nation's largest metro area, then obviously I think it's not a problem. Again, indoors, the baddest thing ever, the indoors. And then across the world, they've been open since May. like in Europe, I'm just non-Disney parks. Like in Europe, have been open. Even if the cases were rising for a little bit, they didn't close back up. They're still open and they're still doing well. So I don't understand how. I mean, I can come up with the guidelines by now. I'll like look at Florida, or if you don't want to use Florida, then look at Vegas, the Adventure Dome, another indoor theme park in Vegas opened up in June. When I go to my dad's house, I went. It's very nice. Same type of stuff you see everywhere. I was
I
like,
wa-
just got one.
I watched the news this morning, and it showed the map, the U.S. map, and it
Mhm.
showed the states color coded to where the hot spots are. And believe it or not, for the traveling purposes, California wasn't even on as one of the hot spots.
Oh yeah, our cases
But I mean
are.
that wouldn't surprise me because nothing's open over there, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But
That's
yeah,
true.
it's we're not doing too bad. But yeah, those theme and again every other. If you look at I was trying to find the thing. Still that breaks down what can open each tier. If you look at it, every other business has at least some kind of tier except the theme parks. We're like the ugly step, or like we're like Cinderella, and the ugly stepsisters are like Governor Newsom in California, taking us, making us sweep, and while they go to the ball and enjoy their wineries or whatever they're doing.
Right. Well, and it's weird to me too because like early on, I don't know if you guys remember back in March, Newsom really wasn't this like Newsom was even giving like Disneyland like the exception. Remember, I remember all the headlines that Newsom is allowing Disneyland to do what they want. They can stay open or they can close. It was really Newsom was kind of giving it to Disney. You can do what you want to do. We're not going to impose anything. I don't know what happened over the past few months, but now it's like it's completely a 180, and it's just I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't. And I was wrong. I thought, okay, well, Hollywood, donates to Newsom and his party a lot. I figured, oh, he's going to bend a little bit because, the money matters. And he hasn't. He hasn't bended at all. I'm
Well, and
shocked.
especially now because with Iger leaving his platform, it's like he even gave up. As you were saying, Chris, the guy that worked up all the deals for all these acquisitions gave up on the notion. So it's
Right.
like, are they still in talks of negotiating to have the parks? Because they can't go on with the parks staying closed.
Right.
I really think any longer. I mean, are they trying to push for a whole year for it to be closed? I mean, because me personally, the 65th anniversary should have been the day. I'm sorry,
Right.
that just should have been the day. Well, Disney World started opening July 11th. Disneyland should have been July 17th.
Well, and I'll tell you what, George, and this is purely my speculation, but Iger leaving the Economic Recovery Board, Newsom's Economic Recovery Board, for me signals the gloves are off. And I think this means that Disney is probably going to start pursuing legal action. I know that there have been similar cases in Ohio with their theme parks where these companies have legally gone up against the state in regards to shutdown situations. I would not be surprised if Iger left the board because they're thinking about pursuing legal action against the state of California to get these parks reopened. I wouldn't be shocked at
Well,
all.
Now,
even
do
here
they?
in LA County, it was this week. I know I shared a couple articles. In this purple tier that we're in, uh, indoor malls and stuff are allowed to open at some capacity, but LA County wasn't having it. And so when I want to go to indoor malls, I have to go right over to Thousand Oaks in Ventura County. But Westfield sued them, or said they're going to sue them. And then 24 hours later, they said, all right, over the next 10 days, indoor malls can open and all this stuff can open, but just the threat of Westfield trying to sue them. So now the malls in LA County can open actually this Wednesday because Westfield was going to sue them. So that's why I was like, Disneyland should do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's the play right now. I think that Iger left the economic board so they can do that. And like Ethan said, the threat of the lawsuit is probably going to be enough to get Newsom to act. It's kind of like, like when you get an alarm system in your house, like then they give you like all those stickers to put on your windows. The
Yeah. Like,
stickers usually
uh-oh.
yeah, the stickers usually detour the criminals from even bothering. It's sort of the same situation here. The threat of the lawsuit will probably detour Newsom from even bothering, and it'll probably put a little fire under his, you know what, to get these guidelines and to get them reopened. I think that's the game plan. I really do.
So, do they actually have to pursue a legal action before just opening up on their own?
I don't know. I think that there'll be some sort of like I don't know if they'll actually move forward with legal action or maybe just publicly threaten it. And I think that if they publicly threaten it, I think that might be enough to get Newsom to act quicker.
They're
in my
gonna definitely
opinion,
have to do something. Disney's going to have to kind of step out of their bubblegum, all happy bubble and kind of turn into the beast a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is the original theme park. This is the theme park Walt Disney built. This is the theme park Walt Disney enjoyed. It's a historic site really for the Walt Disney Company. I mean, it'd be one thing if like, Shanghai or something, that was built like, a few years ago, but this is the park that Walt Disney built and enjoyed himself. It's like the first animated film Snow White. It's historic. I mean, this is they can't give up on it. I mean, so they're going to have to fight back, and they might have to fight back in a really ugly way, to get.
And I actually thought Disneyland was going to be the very first one to open. I would have never thought it would have been last, even compared to the international parks. I would have never thought Disney over Alani even. I never would have thought Alani would have opened up before Disneyland.
Well, now it'll be really bad if the cruise lines open up before Disneyland. I mean, that would be unbelievable. Because that's like that. I mean, in terms of COVID, would be like a super spreader. Those the big cruise ship for a week on end with the same people in these little cabins.
Well, but here's the thing with the cruise line, they already kind of have a plan that they already announced that you get tested, you show up with the either the card or something that you were tested, and you still implement with the mask, the social distancing. But it's nice to even know that the cruise line industry isn't open yet, they're already setting those marks.
Right.
They're setting the boundaries to say when we do open, because we are going to open, this is what. But we're not getting nothing, and it's a shame because Disney got everything ready at the gates. They're ready to open, and their hands are tied.
Are you telling me that the cruise line was working with people to get actual guidelines well before they even have an opening date?
Yeah, it's great. Like, I wouldn't even be mad if Newsom came out and said, okay, theme parks, you can reopen, but you can't reopen until December 1st, say, right? Okay, that's a long
something.
Right, that's a long time from now. But hey, you know what? We got a date. Disney can work on getting whatever recommendations that he's requesting. I can do that. That's fine. I just don't like the uncertainty, this endless cycle of like soon, and it never comes.
Very shortly.
Yeah, it's like Governor Newsom is like Annie, right? Always singing tomorrow.
Yeah, this is like when someone asks me to hang out that I don't want to hang out with, but I don't want to say no. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll let you know. Oh yeah, I'll let you know. Oh yeah, I'll let you know. Oh, I'm doing this, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Canning down the curb.
Yeah, it's crazy. I hope that we get some sort of concrete, stuff soon.
Even if they were to open on December 31st, the last day of the year of 2020.
Right.
That's an oddball time to open up the doors, like right after New Year's.
Up and have a party.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but at least it's a set date to say, okay, we have to look forward to this time. They are going to open.
Yeah, exactly. I just want a date, and I just want some sort of I just want some kind of goal to we can work towards that goal. I just don't like this constant uncertainty, and I think it's unnecessary. Everything else is reopening. I don't see why we have to even be here right now with this,
Yeah. It's funny that after the fact, this is all said and done, we could look back at these recordings of videos and says, wow, we really had to go through this during this time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, they'll get through it eventually. Like Disney will survive. It's not going to like, and Disneyland will survive. It's not going to die off. They're not going to allow it to do that. But it's just in the meantime, it's pretty frustrating.
And it's a real shame for the cast members that
It
they
is.
had to be going
Yeah, really is.
because the cast members are what makes Disney the way that they are. It has that extra oomph that no other place has, and the cast members bring on the magic every single day for the guests. So for them to be waiting and waiting, and then all of a sudden they just get this news that, I could be one out of the 28,000 that was let go. I mean, that's pretty bad.
And I've been seeing a lot of that on social media, a lot of cast members,
I got laid off. I got the call. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and people that have been with the company a long time. I've seen
Yeah.
people say like I've been with the company for 15 years or 20 years or 10 years, and I just got the call that I'm let go. I mean, it's not even like new people. Like they're letting go people that have been with the company for a very long time.
There was someone that started in 1981, and it ended.
Wow. 1981. Wow.
1981.
That's older than Ethan.
Almost 2 times older than.
That's older than me by 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, 1990. Let's see. Well, I'll put you at 30. Oh, wow.
Yep. I hit my big
My
3.
math.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope we get something soon. But you know what? Iger leaving the economic board actually puts a lot of pressure on the state of California to do something, because that looks really bad that he left,
Oh, yeah, that definitely says a lot, because a lot of us were talking about just him being part of the board and everything, and, but for him to actually up and leave, it was like, okay, I'm done with this. Because basically, in a way, that's smart on his part, because he's representing someone that everything that he did for the company as a CEO would have been in vain. Because it's like him turning the back on his baby that he actually ran for how many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And Iger doesn't leave these boards lightly. Like the last time he did this was he left President Trump's economic board like a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Remember that, due to the Paris Accords,
Yeah.
the climate change thing, and he left, because he just couldn't do it anymore, and it looked really bad for Trump. And I think leaving this one looks equally as bad for Newsom. So Newsom's got a fire under his butt right now to get things going. So I think we're gonna see it soon.
Yeah, hopefully. I think their soon probably just became very, 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 very soon, based on
which is still at least 3 months away.
Right, exactly. There you go. Yeah.
So,
I know.
Okay, now I know we keep on using like predictions, because my predictions for like the last 3 times were completely off, because I thought it was going to open for the 65th. Oh, by the end of August. Oh, by the beginning of September. It all didn't happen. So if you guys had to pick, again, I know it's completely out there, what do you think would be the date in your mind? Do you think they would open in 2020, or do you think 2020 is completely officially done for Disneyland?
No, I think. Oh, go ahead, Ethan. Go ahead.
Said I'm just going to use their internal rumored opening date. I'm going to go with November 6th.
Yeah, I would agree with Ethan. I don't know about exactly November 6th, but like I think sometime in November, I think is what we're looking at. I really do. I think that I think that like they're getting a lot more pressure now to reopen. I don't think that the state of California can sustain this kind of pressure for too much longer. They're getting pressure from Disney. They're getting pressure from Universal. They're getting pressure from the city officials like Anaheim, things like that. So I think it's going to be soon. In terms of like within the next week or so, we get the guidelines, and then Disney will have like a month to get up to par to meet those guidelines. So yeah, you're looking at like November. Also, the election, again, it has to be said, the election is going to matter too. the political tension in the country is going to kind of wane a little bit after the election. It's going to be a big sigh of relief no matter who wins. So I think that's going to be a lot less pressure for people like Governor Newsom or what have you. So Ethan's right. After the election, like first week, second week, even third week of November, I think we're looking at that time frame right now. Absolutely. I don't see them waiting until 2021. I mean, nothing's impossible, but I think it'll be before then.
I think also around that time frame as well. I think what they're going to do is end up waiting again after the election and then after the Halloween season, because in order for them to open up now, for how Disney does with their theming, they would only have their Halloween stuff up for a few days and then have to take it back on for the holidays for Christmas. So I'm probably for sure that when they do open, they're already going to have like the holiday decor up for those 2 months.
Yeah, and there's rumors that they're putting up a lighting up on Small World already. So, in preparation for the holidays, whenever those are.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, I think a lot of the prep work they're doing at Disneyland right now is really just that when they get the word, they want to hit the ground running, So they're getting everything set up. They're putting the plexiglass, the markers on the ground, the lighting, everything they need to do. So when they finally get the guidelines, they can hit that ground running and run with it. They just want to reopen right when they're able to, I think,
Yeah, just like Universal is all set up. And if you've seen the America's Got Talent where they've been filming the past few weeks, they're all set up, ready to go. They're just even they have the in-park music on. When I go to Citywide, you can go to the gate and you can hear the music playing inside. I'm like, oh, they're ready to go. They're playing to ghosts, but they're ready.
Well, and another thing is too, and I think that they're also looking into, even for Walt Disney World, of kind of readjusting like the character meet and greets as well. I think that they're looking into that, and I'm thinking they could definitely totally do that, especially with the full body characters, because I'm like, if Nick Cannon can do it on The Masked Singer, I'm for sure we can with the Disney character.
Yeah, definitely. I think when Disneyland reopens, I think we're not going to see like entertainment for a while. I think parades, fireworks, shows, stuff like that, because of the those things attract like a lot of crowds in one area.
Okay, so that's what I was just going to ask you. So do you think with Disneyland open, it's basically they're going to open from the very beginning of how Walt Disney World started back in July?
Yeah.
Or do you think they'll open with the standards now of where Walt Disney World
is? No.
So you actually start off from like
Disneyland's gonna open probably standards even stricter than Walt Disney World when they reopen, because Newsom is more of a hardliner than DeSantis in Florida. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna reopen and have fireworks and parades, and Disneyland's gonna reopen like skeleton crew, bare minimal, it's open, but you're not gonna get a parade, a show, a meet and greet, nothing. It's going to be like just basically.
Do you think they'll have all the attractions open?
No, I don't even think that. I think some are going to be closed. I think they're going to, like Indiana Jones. How are you going to do Indiana Jones? Look at that tight little queue area with those little caves and stuff. Like, you think there's no way they're going to be able to do that social distancing. It's way too cramped and congested. It's musty as hell in there. It's like a COVID spreader, like you wouldn't believe, Yeah, now, there's no way.
Think as far as like because if you even look at the, I wonder if if they do open Indiana Jones up, if they let so many people in, so you're not congested in that little square area where you watch the queue, the pre-show.
Yeah.
On the screen. I wonder if they'll let so many in stop there where you don't even have to stand for the queue show anymore. You just bypass it and go around.
That's possible, or maybe they just funnel people through the exit, where it's like a straightaway, and they just kind of like they let 10 at a time. They could do that too. Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, it's very interesting to see, because there are a lot of attractions that do have that bottleneck,
right?
Where you're crammed. Like, we didn't think of this before, because before COVID, we just stood in line and we just couldn't wait to ride the ride. But now when you look at the rides, it's like, oh, how are they going to do this? How are they going to do that? Are they going to I'm for sure they're going to have plexiglass everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's going to be so much of that everywhere. You might as well should just like have the crash dummies, just like.
Yeah, bring your hazmat suit.
Yeah. Now, something that'll be kind of easy is the in Credit Coaster because they already have their own permanent dividers in between their switchbacks. So I feel like that queue would just need social distancing and not really any plexiglass.
Yeah, yeah, and plus the ride itself is very COVID friendly because you're moving at
Yeah.
like 60 miles an hour, and it's
And
not it's open air.
yeah, and the queue itself is entirely outdoors. So I feel like that'll be like one of the most normal types of same thing as Goofy, one of the most uh, normal looking queues out
Well, even Dave from Fresh Bake said, it's more so of him going on a roller coaster. How is that even going to be like the main center contraction for COVID? So he's even asking questions and needing answers like how of having this theme park closed, is it going to stop from a person getting COVID or not?
there. Oh
Right.
yeah, because he was talking about how that knots out. You can do everything else besides ride the roller coaster. So it's like that must mean the roller coaster gets you sick.
Yeah.
Well, and Dave actually had a great live stream like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was talking about the submarine voyage, how he doesn't even think that ride's gonna ever reopen, and I kind of agree with
Yeah.
him, like because like they're Disney's kind of screwed in a way with the subs because if they do COVID restrictions where they only allow a few people into a sub at a time, the line, because the capacity for the submarine voyage is terrible already, even when you pack the subs to capacity, right? So if you were to only put like 3 or 4 people in a sub, the line for that ride would be like 9 hours long. So, and I think that it's already kind of like that ride is already kind of on the chopping block already, even
Good
before
riddance.
COVID.
Get rid of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say
I agree. It was already kind of in the playbook that if they were to do a Fantasyland expansion, or if they were going to extend Tomorrowland for a new Tomorrowland, that the subs and Autopia were kind of like on my radar. So
right.
automatically,
But
that I think that with now post COVID, that the subs are doomed.
They're
yeah,
doomed.
like even if those things take years to happen, I don't mind looking at a nice lagoon for just a few years without those stupid things in the way. That's a nice picture.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I think that like whatever they do decide to replace the sub lagoon, I hope that whatever they replace it with is as aesthetically pleasing as the lagoon. Like I don't want to see them cement over it
Oh yeah,
and put a
no, they
giant building
You
there.
know what I would,
yeah.
love to see there, and I know it's kind of going off of something that's already built, but again, it would be less money. If you guys pay, was it? I forget which one is getting it. It's one of the international parks. I don't know if it's Tokyo.
Aquatopia.
No, it's
Oh, because that
no,
would
that would
fit.
be cool. That would be cool though. It's the Neverland with the lagoon of the Peter Pan.
Oh,
Oh,
Tokyo,
was it
the Fantasy
Tokyo?
Springs thing.
Yeah, that they're getting like the Skull Island, and it's supposed to look like Neverland. If you
Oh
actually
yeah.
look at that lagoon, that would be a cool, because if they were going to expand something um, for Fantasyland, that would be a nice replacement for a Fantasyland ride. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but if they were to take out Peter Pan's flight, then they could actually have a more updated Peter Pan attraction there at the lagoon, because as I said, I do love Peter Pan's flight, but in time, everything's going to get updated.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'll probably get a lot of heat for this since we're doing since we're doing controversial opinions. I actually, I've always felt, and I don't know, a lot of people will probably be against this, but I've always felt like Pandora would be a perfect segue between, Tomorrowland and Fantasyland because it kind of hits upon both. It has like that fantasy element to it. It's aesthetically beautiful with the rock work and the waterfalls, but it's also a lot of technology, and it would just be that perfect segue between the two
I
lands.
think you and I had this conversation before. Yes, if you would have the technological point of Avatar for Tomorrowland and then segue into the land itself as a fantasy type of land, I could definitely see that happening. And
Yeah.
of course, anything's possible, because if someone told me a few years ago they're going to put a Star Wars land in Disneyland Park. I'm like, no, it's going to go in DCA. It's not going in Disneyland.
And I thought originally that area between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland is where they were going to put Galaxy's Edge, because Star Wars is kind of similar with Pandora in that it's like fantasy and technology. It would kind of segue beautifully. When they said they were going to put it behind the Rivers of America, I was like, what are they doing? What are they smoking? But then when they announced what it is, it's a new planet, and it's a very natural looking environment. And then it made a lot of sense to me. I'm like, oh, okay. Because when they first announced Star Wars Land, I was thinking more I had the more of the mindset of like Star Tours. Yeah. So I'm like, how does that fit behind the Rivers of America? But then when they announced it's a new planet and it's going to have all these petrified trees and this rock work, I'm like, oh, okay, that works. That works very good actually behind Rivers of America. It's beautiful transitioning. Yeah,
definitely. And I think one way or another, whatever they do with the subs, I would definitely keep the lagoon. Or
yes,
some
please.
part of it that they would have to keep the lagoon.
They would have to keep the lagoon, or at least have something there just as aesthetically pretty as that. Like I don't want to see like a cement, just a ton of cement.
Oh yeah, definitely. At least if they're going to take out the lagoon, have something more organic and natural and something. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
And then the Autopia, for me, that could just go regardless.
And Governor Newsom killed that one anyway, because he said that he wants all the cars in California by 2035 to be
electric. Yes,
right, electric. Yeah, so he put the hammer down on that, and you know what? God bless him for it, because I think it's time for Autopia to go.
So if there's anything that Newsom did for Disney, he got rid of the Autopia.
Yeah, he killed Autopia. So thank you, Newsom. We appreciate it, buddy.
I still want to see my swooping arch Tron track go.
Okay,
right
well that's
up
what I was
the
just going to say. If they take on Autopia, would that give leeway that they could actually put in a duplicate of Tron? Or at least a California version of Tron.
Yeah, they would have to do a California version, because you couldn't have like what's the word? Like you couldn't have an exact clone of like Shanghai put into Disneyland because of the sizing and spacing issues. But Tron is essentially just a roller coaster with really cool vehicles. So you can adjust the track layout, the length, based on Disneyland's parameters. It wouldn't be that difficult.
Just need enough for like the show building,
basically. And you can totally gut the Star Wars launch Innovations building for the show building, and that's a huge building they can use for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I keep envisioning it, a nice swooping arch over the lagoon. No canopy though. If you put the canopy, then it ruins the whole thing. But you put the non-canopy swooping arch, so you have. It looks like the Matterhorn, and you see that white track like on the lagoon. Wow, that's
or you know what? Why don't you just have them like take a dip like right into the lagoon, and like right before you go, have a sign that says hold your breath for like 10 seconds.
Well, that's a good idea. When you go over the lagoon, you know how they have those on the credit coaster, the little fountain, so you can launch and go right over the lagoon, and then have like fountains.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Woo! I could be an Imagineer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could have like the LED lights underneath, and have that like Ethan said, like it shoots up as you go over it. I think they do that in SeaWorld too, right? With the Manta coaster.
Yeah, Manta looks great. I've been on it. It goes shoots up. Well, it's so cool.
Now, how's it go, Ethan? One more time.
It goes like like wow.
Now, actually, since we were on the subject for Imagineers, that I was even surprised that part of the 28,000 cast members that got laid off,
400 Imagineers.
411 are Imagineers, and that just blew my mind.
Because Galaxy's Edge team.
That I thought that out of everyone, the Imagineers would have been safe, and it just proves that nobody is safe. That 411 of them, I think out of 2,700 in the Glendale office, I believe, that got laid off.
It kind of makes sense though, because I feel like the projects, like obviously they're going to go forward with Avengers Campus, they're going to go forward with Runaway Railway, but I think after they complete those, there's probably going to be a huge dry spell with new attractions, because they're just trying to stop the bleeding, So I think that
like regain all their money back from just reopening. Period.
yeah, so I can see there's less of a need, unfortunately, for the Imagineers for the time being until Disney County gets back on their feet. So I can kind of see now 411 is a lot. I didn't even really, and pardon my ignorance, but I didn't even realize there were that many people. Like I thought Imagineering was a lot smaller than that. Like I thought like there wasn't that many people. Like I didn't realize it was so many employees at Imagineering. I thought it was more of a smaller knit group. 411, they're letting go.
The smaller knit group that I think you're thinking of, they're basically like the project management teams when they sit around the table and they blue sky the process,
Yeah,
and then they go into their own individual teams, and it
yeah.
kind of like stems off like into like a huge spider web. That's how Imagineering works. But I mean 411 Imagineers. I mean, I don't know like what departments that would be. I don't know if it's like costume and design, if it was architect, if it was
That's true.
project. So it could have just been, it could have been Imagineers that are titled as Imagineers, but they're not like the main core to actually the creation of the attractions. But I mean, just the fact of hearing 411 Imagineers let go, that's crazy.
It's crazy. Now, not to digress too far, but have you guys ever toured Imagineering?
I want to.
I wanted to too. And didn't
Let's
Ethan, wasn't
go.
it you that said that Adventures by Disney even started their
Um, I
process?
I think so. I forgot.
But
But we should all go anyway.
yeah, with Adventures by Disney, with the California one that you can tour Walt Disney Imagineering, I always wanted to do that one because I always wanted to see inside.
I
401
would.
Flower Street. See, I even know the address and I can't even get into it.
Boom! I'll
I
go there
know.
today.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, I would love to do that. I've never been to Imagineering. I've been to the studio, which I absolutely fell in love with. That's why I got a D23 membership a few years ago, was just to do the studio tours. And I've done it a few times now. And I fell in love with the studio. I absolutely, if they had annual passes for the studio, I would definitely buy one. I
That would be
loved it.
cool. That would be
And I think I would be the same with Imagineering, probably even more so. Have you guys been to the studio?
No.
I have for D23, I had a diamond level ticket when I went to Destination D, uh, the years for Disney feature animation, and it was a 2-day event. But since I purchased the diamond ticket, I got a third additional day where they took us up to the studio. We got to tour the ink and paint department, the Disney archives, and they took us into the sound booths where they were showing us the recordings that they did for Wreck-It Ralph, because Wreck-It Ralph was just going to be released that November, but they were like still in the post production of it.
Wow.
So we actually got to go into the recording booths, and we did the scene where Ralph first meets Vanellope, and they're hanging on the candy cane tree.
Oh yeah.
He's mimicking him, and we all got to like take our turns. Like one person was Vanellope, one person was Ralph, and we put the big headset
Yeah.
on, and it goes beep beep beep, say your line. And it was like, it's much harder than you think, because what you're
Wow.
doing is you're reading the line and it has to match you're actually looking what to say. But they said, think of the actors that have to do it with nothing. It's just their voice. They're
Wow.
looking at the words, and it's like they have to create what they're saying. And it's like, oh wow, that's total mind blowing.
It's crazy. I love watching stuff like that. That's why I love going to the studio with stuff like that. If you ever have a chance, if you're on the fence, get a D23 membership. They're only like, I think it's like $100 or something, or $80 a year.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
No,
and it's worth it.
It
Even
is
if you
worth
just
it.
go
It
one,
really is.
even if you just go 1 year and you do the tour one time, it's worth it. It's really, really cool if you're into Disney to go and check out, the grounds and all that, and the different animation studio, like all the different artwork on the walls and the cool sound stages and everything. It's definitely worth the trip at least once.
D23 definitely gives Disney fans the privilege to see the backstage, behind the scenes type of process, what it goes into their theme parks and their movies and their television and their music. But kind of going off the subject, but staying on D23, that they actually announced that the D23 Expo is canceled for 2021, but it's going to be in September 9th to the 11th of 2022. So that really gives me hope that they actually have a plan even for the Expo.
Yeah.
Expo at the Anaheim Convention Center, they already have plans and guidelines for that they already have a set date in 2022 that
Yeah.
that it's for that they're going to do a lot of the theming for the 100 years of the Walt Disney Company.
Well, and Newsom is probably like 2022. Hey, sounds good to me. You can reopen Disneyland then.
Yeah, that's it. That'll probably be the day that the expo opens on September 9th, 2022. That's the day he's going to say, yep, that's when Disneyland opens, September 9th, 2022.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, no, I saw that they're going to announce their plans for the 100th anniversary, which I'm really, really curious about because this is a lot different than just the park anniversaries. You know, this is like they're celebrating the entire company's existence.
Exactly. And
so
who
what are they
knows,
going to
by
do?
2022, that's still some time away. And, you know, with all the progress of going on, who really knows that maybe for Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary, I have to say it, I really do. At least they're going to try to do as much as they can. It's not going to be that big milestone everybody wished was going to happen. But I think maybe for the 100th anniversary of the company in general, that I think that they're going to have a slew full of movies slate to come out. They're going to have, like with Disney, with Pixar, with Star Wars, with Marvel, probably all new things for Disney Plus. And I can't digress enough, folks. If you don't have Disney Plus, subscribe. Again, it's worth it. That's my plug-in for today. And I think even just for the company that they may even have a new horizon. Maybe that's when you guys that show Disneyland some love after the torture that they got this many months. Maybe you guys will actually get your third gate.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And it'll be very interesting to see how, like, you know, with the 100th anniversary, I would love to see like a 100th anniversary fireworks show where they go through the history of the Walt Disney Company from, you know, like, you know, Steamboat Willie, Snow White, you know, the various phases of the studio and the theme parks. Oh, I would love that. And it's kind of
I would even say even before Steamboat Willie, to kind of go back to the nostalgia of where the company headed, to show like the Alice comedies.
Yes.
When it was the Disney Brothers studio.
And even Oswald and stuff like that.
Oswald, I love that guy.
I love that guy too, Ethan. I love that guy too.
Can't believe he left California Adventure.
Hey, he was my favorite character at California Adventure. I met him right at the gate, right before you go to Carthay Circle, and he was my favorute character that I met.
Yeah,
he's actually my picture, the picture I have with him for my YouTube login.
Because he's always hanging out right at that the first shop over there, the car one. I'm like,
the little garage. Yeah, I miss Oswald.
Yeah, Oswald is great. And, you know, it's crazy because, like, Disney hasn't really done as much with him as I would have liked. You know, they sort of, you know, they gave him a lot of representation on Buena Vista Street, and he was in that game, Epic Mickey, but they haven't really done anything with him. Like, they should give him, like, his own little show, like, on Disney Channel or, like, Disney Plus, like, his own little cartoon. Like, they give Mickey Mouse his, you know, his cartoon shorts. I would love to see, like, an Oswald show similar to that or something.
I would love to see, like, an up-to-date Oswald show, but I would also love to see the original classic Oswald cartoons.
Yes. And you know what? Oswald, for me, gives major Animaniacs vibes for some reason, especially since the whole backstory behind the Animaniacs is that they were locked away in the tower. Remember, this is like the 1930s and they came out in like the 90s. You can almost kind of do a similar thing with Oswald because of his story. Like, he was gone for all these years. Now he's back. They could do a really cool show with him. And I don't know why they don't. I really don't.
They're even doing a reboot of the Animaniacs.
Yes, I can't wait.
I mean, everything is starting to be revived, and they need to bring Oswald back because essentially he set the groundwork for Mickey. Up until that time, you know, Walt didn't have the rights to Oswald. You know, he got swindled out of them, but it had to be at that time for him to make Mickey Mouse. So technically, when they say it all started by a mouse, technically it all started by a rabbit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. It did. It's true. It really did. Would you
But
watch
sorry,
an
folks,
Oswald show, Ethan?
but sorry, folks.
Yeah, I watch an Oswald show. It just pop up on the channel.
But I would definitely say when everything starts to keep, open back up and new guidelines that we should have a guys trip, that we should all do Adventures by Disney and go to the studio, go to Imagineering, go to the Jim
Yes.
Henson lot. I think that'd be cool.
Yes, come on over to California. The sun's bright.
The sun's bright. Bright suns.
Bright sun.
Yeah. No, that would be great. I love doing that stuff. What I don't know what you would call it, but like the extra Disney stuff that's not related to the parks.
Behind
like
the
studio.
scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff. It's really cool. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. I really do. And it would be cool because I always wanted to do that particular Adventures by Disney trip. And I mean, more so, I mean, now the way the things are going, it seems like Adventures by Disney is going to open up before Disneyland. But yet at the same time, I don't know how that could be because they need Disneyland opened to do that Adventures by Disney trip. Because that California one, it ends with you staying at the Grand Californian, and then they show you behind the scenes in Disneyland Park and California Adventure. They take you into Walt's apartment. They take you on the Lily Bell. They take you into Club 33. They show you all the hot spots, the Disneyland hotel suite and everything. They show you all of that. And I think
now you can stay at Grand California and then they can show you the behind the scenes of downtown Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was the Trackers that did that one. And I think that they were saying that they choose one attraction in the park that shows you like the behind the scenes. And they did Soarin' over California, and they got to see like behind the screen, and they took them down into like the pit of how it maneuvers and everything. And they said it was really cool.
Wow. Well, now I do want to ask you guys, I think actually we talked about it, George. We didn't talk about it, but we talked about it after the video, and we were like, why didn't we bring that up?
Okay.
Do you guys still think the Splash Mountain retheme is happening with all the budget cuts?
I think so. Only because I don't know, I feel like it would be like bad optics, as you say. Not after announcing it during that time. Also, it's still just it's cheaper than building a brand new attraction. So I feel like if anything, they take funds from Tomorrowland and put them in the Splash Mountain, or they take funds from something else. The money they're saving from fireworks and by not doing it and putting it in the Splash Mountain, so at least get that one going. And
I would say this. It can go either way because especially with them just now laying off Imagineers, now not really knowing which Imagineers got laid off, that could delay it. I think it's going to happen, but I don't know if it's going to happen during the time that everyone thought it was going to. I think it was more so the announcement that Disney had a place during the time that people were questioning them, with all this happening in the world, is this going to affect this ride? Are you going to change it? And I think that Disney kind of pushed. I think because they were probably going to do this anyway, but I don't really think that they were going to announce the change to Splash Mountain yet. I think the only reason why they did was to kind of let the people know this is what we have planned. Now with COVID, now with the shutdown, now with the layoffs and trying to reopen up, I think it's probably going to take a little bit more time. And plus, I think not so much with Disneyland, because you guys already have New Orleans Square adjacent to Critter Country.
Yeah.
You can change Critter Country, where I think with Walt Disney World, I think it's going to be a little bit more of a theme change than to just throw the Princess and the Frog in Frontierland. And DSNY Newscast, Jack, did a great rendition of what he would do. And he said actually kind of gut Tom Sawyer Island and put Tiana's Place, her restaurant, out on the water.
Wow.
At Walt Disney World. and you kind of have to get still into the boat to go over. So you're already kind of making that lake like the bayou and everything of New Orleans type of thing. Now, of course, my podcast buddy Jason, he does not want Tom Sawyer Island touched. He really loves Tom Sawyer Island, but I think in time, I feel that it's a bit outdated. I don't really go over to Tom Sawyer Island. There's not really too much to do there for me. I think it's just a lot of space that could be used for, and from going on a Disney cruise, I know you guys haven't been on the Disney Wonder, Tiana's Place, the best restaurant on any Disney cruise ship. The theming, the characters, the music, I think it would be awesome to bring Tiana's Place as a restaurant to theme with the attraction. And I think for the Imagineers to do that, it's going to take time than to just plop and throw the attraction in just for it to say, hey, we did it.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you. And Ethan, you touched upon a great point when you said it's bad optics. I think it is bad optics. I think it's bad optics because, not because they would cancel, original plans. Disney's canceled plans before. Westcott is a big one. But the optics would come in because this retheme is different than other rethemes. This is kind of more of a sensitive issue in terms of the theming and stuff, and I think that if Disney were to backpedal on that, it would be seen as really I think it'd be insensitive, and I think that it would look terrible for them. They have to do it. They have announced it. They have to do it. And then I agree with you, George. I think that it's going to happen, but I think it's going to be delayed because, like you said, the budget cuts. It's just harder to do, but it will happen. I just think that it's probably going to be delayed a little bit, maybe a year or two.
I think, honestly, that may be part of maybe something with the expo, with the 100 years of the Walt Disney Company. That could be part of it.
Yeah, definitely. And like you touched upon, George, like you said, it's kind of a perfect fit in Disneyland. I agree with you. I made a video about it. I really love the idea of extending New Orleans. Princess and the Frog has that perfect kind of mix between New Orleans, and then they have the alligators and all the animals to kind of fit like even Critter Country. If they wanted to keep Critter Country, they can almost do it because it kind of straddles, the franchise kind of straddles both themes.
Sort of like how you said with Pandora, like between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland.
Yeah, it's a perfect spot for Disneyland. That spot right there is perfect. My only thing is I hope they don't change the name. I don't think I could ever get used to not calling it Splash Mountain. Maybe to keep the name, but the theme is Princess.
Well, here's the thing. I think they will keep the name because technically Splash Mountain doesn't even have anything to do with the movie of Song of the South. If you watch the movie Song of the South,
Hanks.
Splash Mountain, the name came from because Michael Eisner wanted to promote the movie Splash at the time with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks. Yes. And because they had the Triple Mountain, so they were thinking, what should we name it? And he said, well, the movie Splash is coming out. I want to promote it. Let's call it Splash Mountain.
That's crazy. I did not know that. Yep.
So basically, actually, Splash Mountain is named after the 1980s movie Splash with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah.
That's funny. Yeah, keep the name, but change the theme. I think it's a beautiful fit for Disneyland. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
And at night, I could imagine if Disney does this right, and this is another reason why I think that Disney will delay it some, because I would want them to do this right. Not to just skin something and say, okay, let's just get it done just to say we did it. If they're going to do this and really change the whole theme of Splash Mountain, at night they could have the lightning bugs going off, the sounds of the bayou, however that they have this storyline. I think it would be beautiful at night.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's going to be a gorgeous addition. The music in that movie is phenomenal. It has a lot of catchy music, that they could put in there, like going down the bayou and things that it would just fit really, really great in that attraction. I'm excited for it.
The only thing that they would have to just be careful with is because every song in The Princess of the Frog is dancing music to me. I just start dancing to the soundtrack. So being in a ride, it just makes me would want to get up and dance, and hopefully I wouldn't stand up at the time right before the drop.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. That's
But I
great.
think
Yeah.
that would be a problem because I have a funny feeling that right before the drop, how they kind of have it like the suspense with the vultures for Splash Mountain. It's going to be like the bum, 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 bum. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
I can't. I'm excited. Just talking about it, I'm really excited for it. I'm really curious what they're gonna do with this. You know, but you're right. They gotta go all out with it. They can't. If they don't have the money for it right now, then wait a year or two when you do have the money. That's the same way I feel also with like Tomorrowland. Don't do it if you're gonna do it half-assed. You like go wait and do it right. You know, you agree, Ethan? You think they should
Yeah,
wait?
definitely. Definitely gotta wait, or else because you can't open it like a Pixar Pier style thing.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm
terrible.
saying. I can't foresee for how popular and classic of an attraction Splash Mountain is, and then to just give us something beneath it. Like, if anything, they want to have, if anything, they want to have to plus it. They have to make it better than Splash Mountain.
Yeah, they would have to. Yeah, and plus, not only the attraction, but the movie is extremely loved. People love Princess and the Frog. You gotta do right by the movie as well, and all around they just they have to come through. They can't just kind of do like a half effort. They got to go all the way.
Definitely. Yeah.
100%.
Yep. Well, I want to thank you both for joining me today. I love all the subjects that we touched upon. We touched upon like many different ones.
Yeah.
And I think that all kind of ties in together is that we want all our parks open. And so far,
That's
even
right.
with Hong Kong was open, closed, opened, closed again, and now is reopening. So even Hong Kong is having an effort to open. We need our OG resort opened.
Yeah, we do. We definitely need it back. And I'll wear a mask. I wear a mask. Like, here's the thing. Like, and you guys see my mask. I showed him in my video.
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just have to touch upon this, folks. I just have to. I'm sorry. I have to. I'm not making fun of it. It's just hilarious to me. Please definitely check it out. I have to try to find which.
I can send you the link.
Send me the link. I'm going to actually put the link in this video when it gets released. That Orange Grove 55 did a video where he's talking about his mask, and he comes on the show, and I'm actually watching as a viewer, and I think, okay, he's going to maybe hold up like one or two masks. He pulls out this big clump of it's like, oh man, it's like Area 51. It's like he's ready.
Yeah. I have a ton of masks, and I wear them every time I go out. I wear them. I strictly follow the guidelines, but I want to go back to the parks. I'll wear a mask. I don't care. I'll social distance. I don't care.
Definitely. And especially, I think a lot of us, especially as diehard Disney fans, aside from loving the attractions, loving the rides, the shows, I think it's just the atmosphere.
Yes.
The smell, the scents, the sounds.
Exactly.
Just sit on a park bench and look out into New Orleans Square. I'm sorry, I say this constantly on the podcast, the Grand Circle Tour podcast, folks. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. There's my second plug-in for the day. I constantly say New Orleans Square is my favorite land in Disneyland Park.
Yeah,
It's
the heart and soul.
The atmosphere. I love sitting on a bench, sitting on a chair at Cafe Orleans, and just watching the people. Having my beignets, having my Monte Cristo, watching the people, watching the Mark Twain go by. I just love that atmosphere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Ethan loves the atmosphere of sitting on Mission Breakout with his hands up.
Yes, please. Like, wow, that's the ride I want to see the behind the scenes for, because that's crazy. They use an actual elevator with actual elevator cables, and then they just go like, shoo, shoo, shoo. How do you do that? That's insane.
Well, and especially like with the new technology that they don't have at Tower of Terror at Disney World, where they kind of have you like bobbing up and down, like while you're watching the scenes. I love that sensation.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so good.
wow, and
It's a
then the
great ride.
lights. Like, this is why I'm so sad I can't go. I was so excited. I was last year I missed out, but this year I was so excited to get on the Monsters After Dark, and I can't do it. I'm so sad. It's the best version of any of the rides ever. Monsters After Dark is better than Mission Breakout and Tower of Terror in California Adventure, in my opinion.
I
It's
have
Well,
to
so
I
good.
have to check out Monsters. What is it? Monsters After Dark?
Yeah,
yeah.
so good.
I didn't
The
check.
building
I
at
never was on
night,
that version.
And
the
even have a
building
fake
at night.
ending, right?
Yeah,
Even they even have like a
they
fake
had
ending.
they go to the top and the doors open says, "All right, please grab your stuff and get off." And the picture comes and you drop all the way down. It's great. And then
That's
the
funny.
light, there's these red and blue, red and
And
white
that was
lights in the
and
elevator
that
go.
was the sad thing for me because I was actually planning on coming out to Disneyland this October because I wanted to do Monsters After Dark. I wanted to do the the overhaul of the Haunted Mansion, of the Nightmare Before Christmas, because I never got to experience that.
Oh,
And
whoa, no way!
no, I've
Haunted
never.
Mansion Holiday?
Mm-mm,
Wow.
no, I've
It's
never done
up
it.
for so long. That's crazy.
I was actually going to come out this year because I have my premier pass, and I was gonna come out, and lo and behold, I can't this year.
Well, you may be able to if they decide to open up the mansion with the holiday stuff. You can still come out for that.
Yeah, you got to
So,
do Haunted Mansion Holiday. That's amazing.
I do. I really, at least one time. I just want to mark it off my Disney
Right.
bucket list. That I
yeah, like how
The-
about Small World Holiday?
no,
You been on that
no.
one? Whoa, no way!
I was
Oh
never,
shit.
honestly, I was never at Disneyland. That's your
You realize these things get like 3 hour lines. They're so
I
good.
I
Oh
was
well.
never at Disneyland for any of the holidays.
Wow. Oh,
Ooh,
George, it's like it's surreal, man.
the
No one
castle
does
is oh
Christmas
my
like Disneyland. Nobody.
real.
I
I
have,
mean that castle in the snow.
you know what
I
I'm
can
gonna have
just
to do is when everything opens up for the year, I have to come out twice that year. I have to come out for Halloween
Yeah,
and I have to come out for Christmas.
you do. Well, yeah, you do. You definitely do. It's phenomenal. The holidays at Disneyland are unmatched.
yeah like
No other Disney park does them like Disneyland.
yeah. I'm like wow. That's my favorite time of the. That's it's just so good. Like it's so good. I'll sit in a 2 hour line because it's so good. Like it's so crowded, but it's crowded for a reason because it's so good. It's like my main mission every year, and not even my friends too. They're like, "Let's go to Disneyland, but let's
That's
only
that's
go during
that's
the holidays."
that's your mission breakout.
Yeah, that's my mission breakout. Like, wow. And even Cars Land is all Christmassy and so good stuff. World of
Oh,
Color,
and
Season of
they have it,
Light.
and they also have it decorated for their Halloween, Cars Land.
Yeah, yeah, the Cars Land's all little.
Yeah, I
They
gotta
have
Yeah,
check that out.
the,
you'll love it. You'll
the
love it. A
the
plus.
windows in the firehouse turn into little like eyeballs. It's fun. The cones have the little faces on them.
I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with my annual pass too, because I got my extension for Walt Disney World, but I'm still trying to get answers for Disneyland because technically my Disneyland part of my pass expired,
Right.
and I'm still trying to figure that out, and hopefully I can get that taken care of and squared away because I opted for the extension all around.
Call the governor's office. He might be able to help you.
Yeah, call Gavin Newsom. Like, hey, what do I do with my pads?
Yeah,
Like, I hope like, I'll tell you very, very short.
Yeah,
yeah,
very
Call back
soon.
very
tomorrow.
soon, very soon.
Very soon.
But I, but I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I loved our conversation. And but before we go, if you guys want to tell everyone where they could find you.
Go ahead, Ethan. You first, buddy.
Oh, you can find me at Theme Park Wizard on YouTube, Facebook, Fat Theme _ Wizard on Twitter, and on LinkedIn too at Ethan Becker if you want to see my LinkedIn
He has so
page.
many platforms. He had to actually stop and think.
And Ethan, are you still selling your masks?
I am. I in the car, but I have a cool mask that I'll show you on screen share right now for 10 seconds. Hold up. Luckily, I have this. Watch this, people. Watch this.
There we
All
go.
these hundreds of viewers that we got going on here. I got this. So one of my subscribers, fans, he made this cool mask for me, and he said I can sell it. But if you order it, it's gonna come from Florida, so it's gonna take a while. But this guy right here, look at this. Oh, what happened? Uh, why is my
There it
look
is.
at that, huh? Wow.
Nice.
Nice
It's
graphics.
like, wow, incredible. That's why it's a little more expensive. But wow, great stuff. So go check it out, people, and go check out all this cool stuff. I'm really trying to get rid
He's
of
even
this.
got models modeling his shirts and stuff. Look
Yeah,
at
look got the models right over here.
this.
Like, great stuff, great stuff. Also, you can anyone if you're Instagram theme underscore art underscore wizard. But what should we call it? So if you guys go on my thing, I'm trying to give these away because these are old. So if you register to vote, no matter who you're voting for, if you register to vote, it's important. Screenshot, comment below, and you guys can get a free theme park wizard pin. 5 people have already done it, so hurry up and do it, people. Hurry up.
That's great. That's great. No, that's cool, Ethan. That's really awesome. Getting people to vote and stuff. That's important, man. Like seriously, everyone should go out and vote. And like he said, it doesn't matter, who you vote for. I mean, it just have your voice be heard. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, because in every country you can't do that.
Right? Yep.
Okay. So go vote. Please do.
And yeah, and you guys can find me. My social media list is a lot shorter than Ethan's, but you can find me primarily YouTube, Orange Grove 55, and also on Twitter, Orange Grove 55. And yeah, check me out. Subscribe if you can. I talk about similar stuff that these fellas talk about, like Disney parks, Disney movies, Disney Plus, stuff like that. So check it out when you get a chance. I appreciate it.
And definitely do so because they both have really awesome channels. And thank you guys for joining me today once again. And to everyone out there, remember, to all our beloved cast members, I just have to say before we go, just a big thank you for what you have done, what you're going to continue to do, and just hang in there with us, please, because as much as you think that your jobs are insignificant and that you don't make a difference, you actually do to a lot of people, especially us in the Disney community. So I just want to say a big thank you, and please hang in there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So without further ado, stay safe, stay healthy, stay Disney. Bye, everybody. And before we go, Ethan, on our way out, do your little choo-choo-choo thing.
and you also got to do have a fantastic day.
Have a fantastic day. My fireworks. These are my fireworks.
Bye, everybody.
There's worlds of colors right behind me. So
yes.